So now for our third problem, we have another conduction type problem in which the thermal conductivity is dependent on our temperature. So I'll give you some time, pause the video so that you can read it. Okay, so I hope you have understood the problem enough para masagutan natin, no? So the difference in this problem as compared with the previous one is that the thermal conductivity is not given explicitly, meaning meron tayong thermal conductivity but they are given in terms of an equation. And with that, we need to incorporate this to our general equation. Now, when we are solving such kind of problem, so don't worry kasi ang ating gagamitin pa rin is the same. We have the same Fourier equation. So we have Q over A. This is equal to negative K dt over dx. So hindi ko na siya i-drawing since same lang din naman siya nung drawing natin before. Siya ay slab. So the thickness is 0.63 meters and then meter. And then these are the constants that we need to indicate in our general equation. But before anything else, so with that, this expression, we need to substitute this to our K. So, gagawin natin, substitute lang natin yung ating K. So, we have Q over A, which is the heat flux. And by the way, yung hinahanap natin, equal to sa this equation, which is K sub O multiplied with negative K sub O multiplied with A over B plus C T squared. And then dt, so all over dx. Okay? So in that case, before we substitute the values of A, B, and C in this equation, and as you can see here, sila naman ay mga constants, no? So before anything else, before we substitute it, we need to integrate this first para mas simple. Kaysa sa i-substitute natin itong mga to, medyo mas mahirap siya kapag nagkaroon tayo ng maraming values, no? And the solution will be a lot tedious. So let's just probably separate the variables first and then we'll integrate. Okay? So, and by the way, let's just write the given first, the important ones. So we have here T1, which is equal to, so we will only consider the hotter region, which is 628 Kelvin, and then the final temperature, which is the lower one, it is 456. That is the essence of having a negative here. Since T2 minus T1 will be negative, then this negative makes the heat flux positive. And then of course, our delta X, or the thickness, is 0.63 meter. Okay. Then we can now proceed with the next step. So let's separate the variables. So it will just simply be Q over A dx. This is equal to negative. This is equal to negative K sub O, or 0, A over B plus CT squared, and then dt. Okay. And then with that, we can now proceed with the integration of this one so that we can now find the heat flux. Okay. So we just need to use integration Q over A, the integral from, this is from the first temperature, which is 628. Let's just make it T1. Sorry, this is not temperature, but since this is dx, we're concerned with the thickness. So this is x sub 1, and then this one is x sub 2, which eventually becomes x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And we already have this value. Let's just write it para meron tayong consistency with the solution. So negative KO A divided by B plus CT squared dt. Evaluated from t1 to t2. Okay. And with that, we can now just simply rewrite this. Let's just rewrite this in terms of 6 to 8, and then 4, 5, 6, then negative k sub o, and then a b plus ct squared dt. Okay, and now with that, we can now do something with this equation para ma-proceed natin yung ating solution. Okay, so let's just rewrite this expression here. This expression, ito muna, since dx lang naman yun, so we can just simply make it x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and then magiging delta x. So we have here q over a, then delta x. So q over a multiplied with delta x, or the thickness, and then this is equal to the antiderivative of this function here. Now let's just review some of our integral calculus here so that we can answer. Now since this is a constant, we can now simply rewrite this as negative a multiplied with k sub o para mailabas natin yung dalawang constants na yun. So we're left with this expression here as dt divided by b plus ct squared. And this looks a lot simpler now. Now in your integral calculus, remember, this is in the form of a inverse trigonometric function. This is actually almost the same as the form of our du over a squared plus u squared. And if you can remember, itong function na to, itong derivative na ito is from what function? So this is from the tangent inverse of u over a, and then we also have 1 over a here. So this is the rule that it follows, but technically this is simply u squared, but we have c here. If we assume that u is t, kasi kung ano yung variable natin na dinidifferentiate or in-integrate, yun yung nandito ngayon na may square. In this case, that is t. So this is the t squared. And since mag-isa lang siya, wala siyang kasamang multiplier or a constant, which is in this case is c. So we need to factor this out first para maging simple yung ating equation. So if factor out natin yung c sa labas, so magiging c. And then, of course, kung factor out natin yung c dito, this becomes b over c. Para in case ma-multiply siya dito, matitira na lang is yung b. And then plus t squared. Okay? And then this one is dt. Okay? So same limits lang then, the integral from 6 to 8 to 4, 5, 6. And then we also have negative a k sub o. Okay? And so medyo maliit na yung sulat ko, no? But the thing is, finactor out lang natin yung c from this equation. And now, since dito is naka a squared siya, so we need to express this in terms of something na naka-squared then. So with that, we now have negative a k sub o, the integral from 6 to 8, and then 4, 5, 6. So we have there dt. So since we need to express that in terms of something na naka-square based on our rule here, so we have c, and then this one is the square root of b over the square root of c, and then this one is square natin siya ngayon, plus t squared. Okay? So kung mapapansin nyo, nagsasatisfy na yung ating integrand dun sa ating general rule na ito. So, with that, let's just follow what is written, no? And by the way, before we do that pala, kung mapansin nyo, this one is a constant already. So, in that case, pwede na natin siyang ilipat. Ilabas na lang natin siya doon. Isama natin dito sa mga constant dito. So, before we begin, pwede natin siyang i-rewrite muna as negative a multiplied with k sub o divided by c, kasi nasa ilalim siya para siyang multiplied by 1 over c. So, the integral of from 6 to 8 to 4, 5, 6, and then dt divided by the square root of b over the square root of c squared plus t squared. You can also rewrite this as square root of b over c then square root, no? Ng buong rational expression na yan. Okay, so with that, we can now integrate this portion. So we have there negative a dot k sub o all over c. So sabi doon sa ating ano nga ulit yun? Dun sa ating general rule, we have 1 over a tangent inverse of u over a. So, if that's the case, then this simply means that our a here is square root of b over square root of c. So, we have 1 over square root of b over square root of c. And then the tangent inverse of u, which is t, then divided by square root of b over square root of c. Okay? And this one would be evaluated from t1 to t2. So our final expression would be q over a, and then this one is the delta x, or the thickness. This is equal to negative a dot k sub o multiplied with square root of c, and then divided by c, then square root of b, then tangent inverse of square root of c, then the temperature, and then the square root of b, then t sub 1 to t sub 2. Okay, so with that, let's substitute the values of our a, b, and c, and of course k sub o. So in that case, we have q over a, and then also the delta x, we need to substitute it. So going back to the problem, we have 0.63 for our delta x, and then we have 0.478 for a, for b 1.272, and then for c 3.87 times 10 to the negative 6. So we need to remember those, and of course k sub o is equal to 1.54. So we need to remember those values para masubstitute natin siya. So we have here q over a, and then multiplied siya with our thickness, which is 0.63. So we have 0.63, and then equal to sa ating negative a, which is negative, yung a hindi siya yung negative yung expression na to. So, dito natin ilagay sa baba para hindi kayo ma-confuse. So, 0.478, and then multiplied with our k sub o, 1.54, and then square root of c. So, we have the square root of 3.87 times 10 to the negative 6, and then divided by c, which is 3.87 times 10 to the negative 6. Then this is multiplied with the square root of 1.272. Then the tangent inverse, or the arctan of dito ko na lang susulat siguro kasi hindi na siya kasya, no? So square root of 3.87 times 10 to the negative 6 multiplied with temperature. So ngayon, T2 yung ilalagay natin muna, which is our T2 is the lower temperature now. So our lower temperature is 456. So we have 456. And Kelvin naman to, since naka-Kelvin naman siya lahat, no? Then divided by the square root of 1.272. Okay? So, yun lang. I-calculate lang natin to. Then, makukuha natin is yung ating sagot kapag sinubstitute natin yung T2. Okay? So, meron pang isa. Gagawin natin ulit yan. And then, for T1 naman. So, subtract natin based dun sa ating integral calculus, no? If you can just remember it. So, with that, let me calculate it first. So, for T2, we have 144.7479. And then for our the higher temperature, which is 628, so we have 178.9947. So, remember, meron tayong negative sign dito. So, in that case, we have Q over A. This is equal to the difference dun sa dalawang yon. So, it must be negative. And then, magiging negative pa ulit. So, magiging positive na. 34.24 2468. And then ito is na hindi pa yan nakamultiply dun sa ating K sub O, which is 1.54. So ngayon, multiply natin kasi hindi ko siya sinama dun sa computation. Kasi ano naman pwede naman siya hindi mo na ilagay. So 1.54, and then i-divide natin ngayon to dun sa ating delta x, which is equal to 0.63. So with that, our answer is equal to 83.7145. Now, what is the unit? So simply, the unit would be the heat flux. So siya is watt per area, so meter squared. So this is our final answer. So ito, remember, itong portion na to, 144.747, and then yung 178, hindi ko sinama muna dito yung K sub O, ha. So if ever, iba yung sagot nyo dyan, probably mas malaki siya. Kasi nakamultiply na yung inyo sa 1.54. Yung sa akin kasi hindi ko muna sinama Okay? So, yun lang. Kasi nakamultiply naman Kahit nga ihuli mo na itong mga constants na to But, yun nga, kanya-kanya naman yung solve. Basta tama lang yung procedure ng integration. So, ayun. So, to counter-check this answer, pwedeng gamitin nyo yung integration function ng inyong calculator, and then, yun, if you've got the correct answer or the same answer, then, tama yung sagot nyo. Okay? So much for that for the conduction. So, discuss ko is yung 3 types ng conduction. Yung normal, given na yung thermal conductivity. The other one is kapag kailangan mong hanapin siya sa Paris Handbook. And then, with that, kailangan mong malaman kung ano yung kind of material. And then, yung pangatlo is kapag given naman sa'yo is equation ng thermal conductivity, how do you use it? So, ang nasabi ko lang is medyo matrabaho yung merong may equation or given siya as a function. Pero, basta just remember your integral calculus, and yun nga, madali lang naman siya pagkatandaan nyo, no? Okay?